Good morning to all. I welcome all of you in this lecture. This is the lecture number 7 of the Turing machine. In the previous 1 to 6 lecture, we had learnt how to construct a Turing machine corresponding to a language. And also we had learnt how can we show that a function is Turing computable. That is, we also learned how to construct a Turing machine corresponding to a given mathematical functions. But in today's lecture, we are going to learn the variations of Turing machine or different types of Turing machine. Now, the variations of the Turing machine are the following. The first variation is non-deterministic Turing machine. Second is the multi-tape Turing machine. Third is the multi-head Turing machine. And the fourth is a multi-dimensional Turing machine. So these are the 4 variations of the Turing machine which we are going to learn in this lecture. That is non-deterministic Turing machine, multi-tape Turing machine, multi-head Turing machine and multi-dimensional Turing machine. Right? So now we shall study one by one. The first Turing machine is non-deterministic Turing machine. The non-deterministic Turing machine is like a non-deterministic finite automata. This is differ from the deterministic Turing machine, like the non-deterministic finite automata differ from the deterministic finite automata. Remaining things are the same as like DFA. The second point here, in the same situation, it may take different actions at different times. That is, if same configuration or same situation occur at any place, then machine may take different actions at different times. Okay. The third point, it differs from deterministic Turing machine only by the transition function. So in the 7 parameter of a Turing machine, the 6 parameter are same but only differ from deterministic Turing machine by the transition functions. The transition function of deterministic Turing machine and non-deterministic Turing machine differ. Right? So the transition functions corresponding to a non-deterministic Turing machine will be like the following. So this is the transition function which will be used in the case of a non-deterministic Turing machine. So here the transition function is defined like this. The transition function is defined from q cross tau tends to 2 की power q cross tau cross l set of l comma r. So all of you are aware from q, tau, l and r, right? So that is, if we consider the transition function of a deterministic Turing machine, in that case the delta will be delta such that q cross tau tends to q cross tau cross l comma r. But in the case of a non-deterministic Turing machine, it will be here 2 की power q cross tau cross L set of L comma R. That is, in other words, we can say that this is the power set of q cross tau cross L comma R. That is, in this case, when the input will be any state and the sum tape symbol occur, then machine goes to different combinations. Machine goes to more than one combinations, right? So that is, machine may take different actions at a different time corresponding to a same configuration, right? So that is, the transition function of the non-deterministic Turing machine is defined like this. So the remaining 6 parameters are same like a deterministic Turing machine, only differ by the transitions functions, right? Clear? Non-deterministic Turing machine is defined like this. So non-deterministic Turing machine is like a non-deterministic finite automata, and in the same situation it may take different actions at different times. Third point, it differs from deterministic Turing machine only by transition functions, right? The transition function of non-deterministic Turing machine is defined like this: delta such that q cross tau tends to 2 की power q cross tau cross l comma r. Okay. Now let us come to the next type of Turing machine. The second type of Turing machine is a multi-tape Turing machine. This type of Turing machine differs from the deterministic Turing machine and non-deterministic Turing machine in the sense of number of tapes. From the name it is clear that multi-tape, that is, in this Turing machine we shall use a number of tapes, that is, we shall use a n number of tapes. So when you have to design a such type of Turing machine, then you have to use more than one tape, right? That is, we can say that n number of tapes. Clearly here in this model, this is the model of multi-tape Turing machine. So here we have shown in this figure the model of a multi-tape Turing machine. So this is the model. So here we consider 3 tape. The tape number 1 is this, second tape and third tape. So tape 1, tape 2 and tape 3. Clearly in this case, since the number of tape is more than 1, therefore the number of head will be more than 1. One head will be corresponding to a 1 tape. It means if the number of tape is n, therefore the number of head will be also n. So in this model there are 3 tape, therefore 3 head will be used. The first head is this here, this is the first head, the second head is there, and the third head is there, right? So all the heads will be read write head here, right? So all the heads which will be used here are the read write head. Clear? If the number of tape is n, then the number of head will be also n. Or this is the finite state control. So all of you know the finite state control consists of a set of transitions rule, or these transitions rule define the movement of the machine, that is, how can machine move from one particular combination to the next particular combinations. These things will be decided by a set of transitions rule, or this set of transition rule will be exist into the finite state control, right? So this is the complete model of a multi-tape Turing machine. So the capability of multi-tape Turing machine is more than a single tape Turing machine, right? So that is the power of multi-tape Turing machine is greater than the power of single tape Turing machine. Okay, now let us come to the next slide. So this is the definition of a multi-tape Turing machine. So clearly multi-tape Turing machine consists of n number of tapes. Since number of tape is n, therefore the number of heads will be also n. Number of heads will be also n. Since the number of tape is n, therefore the number of tapes, number of head will be also n. The transition function in this case will be defined like this. So here the transition function of the multi-tape Turing machine is defined here. That is, q cross tau power n tends to q cross tau power n cross l comma r power n. So this is the transition function here. So look, the transition function clearly. Remaining 6 parameter are same here also, but the 7th parameter, that is the transition function, is also differ in this. So here tau power n is defined like this. This will be equal to this here, tau cross tau cross tau dash cross tau up to n times. If the number of tape is n, in that case here will be n. That is, here you have to use the n. N denote a number of tapes. Here L comma R power n is L comma R Cartesian product L comma R dash up to n times, right? Now in this transition function, what will be the number of input? So in this Turing machine, the number of input will be n plus 1. The one input corresponding to a state and n input corresponding to a tape. So since the number of tape which is taken here is n, therefore you have to take one input from each tape. So number of tape is n, therefore the number of input will be n plus 1 state. Therefore the total number of input for this transition function will be n plus 1, right? The output will be according to this, that is output will be n plus 1, that is 2n plus 1 number of output. The number of output will be equal to 2n plus 1. So the number of input is n plus 1, right? But the number of output will be 2n plus 1. Okay, so 1 plus n plus n. So the transition function will be this. So multi-tape Turing machine works according to this transition function. I think it is clear. Now let us come to the next type of Turing machine. Now this is the multi-head Turing machine. Multi-head Turing machine. So this is the model of a multi-tape Turing machine is shown. From the name of the Turing machine, it is clear that in this type of machine, the many number of heads will be used. That is, more than one head will be used, right? So, but the number of tape which will be used here is only one. Only one tape will be used here, but the number of head will be more than one. Right? So here we shown a particular model corresponding to this. Here we have considered 3 heads, right? So here we have considered 3 heads. So that is single tape will be used here. All of you know the tape which will be used in the case of a Turing machine will be infinite tape. So this is a infinite tape. So that is single tape will be used in this case. One dimensional tape will be used here. Now the first head is at the tape symbol C, second head at tape symbol B, and third head at the tape symbol B, right? So this is the finite state control. Finite state control is a set of transition rule, right? So according to this set of transitions rule, the movement of these heads will be decided. Now let us come to the definition of multi-head Turing machine. So multi-head Turing machine is also defined like a Turing machine. The 6 parameters are the same as defined in the Turing machine. The 7th parameter, that is a transition function, differs from the normal Turing machine. The transition function which will be defined in the case of a multi-head Turing machine will be like this. So this is the transition function which is defined for the multi-head Turing machine. Q cross tau power n tends to Q cross tau power n cross L comma R comma n. So here tau cross n is like will be equal to this, and L comma R power n equal to L comma R cross L comma R dash, right? So this is like a previous. So clearly look, the transition function which is defined here is same like a transition function defined in the multi-tape Turing machine. But difference is that in the case of a multi-tape Turing machine, more than one tape are used, but in the case of a multi-head Turing machine, only single tape will be used here, right? These two Turing machine are more powerful than the normal Turing machine, right? Now let us come to the next types of Turing machine. The next type of Turing machine is the multi-dimensional Turing machine. In this case of a Turing machine, a multi-dimensional tape will be used here. In the previous type of Turing machine, only a single dimensional tape have been used. But here the multi-dimensional Turing machine will be used. But the number of head will be only one. But here the number of head will be only one. But the tape will be a multi-dimensional. We shown here a two-dimensional tape. So this is the two-dimensional tape. So here we shown a model of a Turing machine for this type of Turing machine. So here we have used a two-dimensional tape. So this is the two-dimensional tape here. If the tape is two-dimensional, then the number of dimensions in which direction the head of the machine move will be 4. So in this case the direction will be 4. First direction is the left direction, second is the right direction, and third is the up direction, and fourth is the down direction. That is, the head of the machine in this type of Turing machine can move either in left direction or in up direction or in right direction or in down direction. That is, in all these 4 directions the head of the machine can move, right? The set of transitions rule are defined in the finite state control. So according to these transitions rule, machine will move either in left or in right or in up or down, right? So in any direction machine can move. So here we have taken an example as a two-dimensional tape, but the general form is multi-dimensional. If the number of dimension is 3, in that case the number of direction in which the head of the machine will move is 8, right? If the 3-dimensional tape will be used. Now here this type of machine consists of one multi-dimensional tape with one head. The head of machine move in many directions. The head of machine move in many directions. If tape is n-dimensional, then head move in 2 power n directions, right? That is, if n is 1, that is one-dimensional tape, then machine move in 2 power 1, that is in 2 direction. But if n is 2, then machine move in 4 direction. If n is 3, machine move in 8 directions. If n is 4, machine move in 16 direction. Okay, here the machine will move in a different direction. It will be decided on the basis of n, right? Here the transition function of a two-dimensional Turing machine is defined like this. So this is the transition function corresponding to a two-dimensional Turing machine. So transition function like this here. Q cross tau tends to Q cross tau cross L comma R comma U comma D. That is, this transition function takes 2 input values. First is the state and second is the tape symbol. That is, only 2 input will be used here. The output will be 3. The first output will be state, second will be the tape symbol, and third will be either L or U or D. If L, then machine move in the left direction. If R, machine move in the right direction. if U, machine move in the up direction, if D, machine move in the down direction, right? So this is the multi-dimensional Turing machine. Okay, so this is the last types or the variations of a Turing machine. So we discuss all the 4 types of Turing machine: multi-dimensional Turing machine, multi-tape Turing machine, multi-head Turing machine, multi-dimensional Turing machine. So we have discussed all these 4 variations of a Turing machine, right? Ability to perform the task of these variations of Turing machine are greater than the normal Turing machine. If you cannot construct a deterministic Turing machine corresponding to a particular language or particular functions, then you can use any of these Turing machine for that language or for that functions. Okay, now let us come to the next topic. The next topic is recursive and recursive enumerable languages. Recursive and recursive enumerable languages. In the Turing machine, the languages which we are going to study are the recursive language or the recursive enumerable language. It may be recursive, it may be recursive enumerable language. So now we will define here the definitions of both recursive language and recursive enumerable language. The definition of first type of language, recursive language, that is which type of language is said to be a recursive language. Carefully listen to this. A language L is said to be recursive language if there exists a Turing machine which can accept all the strings belonging to L and rejects all the strings which are not belonging to L. Right? Again we repeat the definition. A language L is said to be recursive if there exists a Turing machine M which accepts all the strings W belonging to L and rejects all the strings which do not belong into L. Right? So this is the definition of our recursive language. So that is, we can say that if language L is recursive, then there exists some Turing machine. The Turing machine which will be exist corresponding to L will be look like this. Here, look this Turing machine. So this is the Turing machine corresponding to a language L. Here we consider a W is a input string. Here Y for S and N for no. Y indicate S, N indicate no. So W is a some input string. Look to this figure. If W belong into L, then the answer of this machine will be yes. But if W not belong into L, then the answer of this machine will be no. Right? So that is the Turing machine corresponding to recursive language have 2 answers. The one answer is yes and the second answer is no. If the string is accepted by machine, then the answer will be yes. If the string is rejected by the machine, then the answer will be no. Right? So this is the Turing machine corresponding to a recursive language. Now we come to the second definition, recursive enumerable language. Recursive enumerable language. Now come to this definition. A language L is said to be recursive enumerable if there exists a Turing machine which accepts all the strings belonging to W and rejects or goes into an infinite loop for all the strings which do not belong into L, right? So again repeat the definition. A language L is said to be a recursive enumerable language if there exists a Turing machine which can accept all the strings belong into L and reject or goes into an infinite loop if the string do not belong into L, right? So that is, if the language is recursive, then therefore there exists some Turing machine. The Turing machine which will be corresponding to a recursive enumerable will be look like this. Right? So here in this type of Turing machine, when you pass the input string W, then if W is belong into L, then the answer will be yes. If W is belong into L, then the answer will be S. But if W is not belong into L, then in this situation, the answer of the machine does not exist. In this case, there is no answer of the machine. That is, if W is not belonging into L, in this situation, machine cannot give any answer. That is, in this situation, machine goes into an infinite loop. If the machine goes into infinite loop, it means no reply is given by the machine, right? So that is, this type of Turing machine only find the answer if the string is accepted by this machine. If the string is accepted by this machine, then the answer will be yes. But if the machine is not accepted, then in this case there is no answer of this machine, right? So look, these two Turing machine, if the language is recursive, then this type of Turing machine can be designed. But if the language is recursive enumerable, then this type of Turing machine will be designed. Okay? Now, we discuss the relationship between recursive language and recursive enumerable language. So look, this is the relation. So if R denote the set of recursive language, or E denote a set of recursive enumerable language. So look here, R is a proper subset of RE. R is a proper subset of RE. That is, if a language is a recursive language, then it always will be a recursive enumerable. So if language is recursive, then it always will be a recursive enumerable. But if the language is recursive enumerable, it may be recursive, it may not be recursive, right? So if the language is recursive enumerable, then it may be recursive or it may not be a recursive. But in the reverse, if the language is recursive, then it always will be the recursive enumerable. Clear? So this is the relationship between set of recursive language and the set of recursive enumerable language. Okay? So these are the recursive language and recursive enumerable language. So in the next lecture, we shall discuss the properties defined for the recursive and recursive enumerable language, right? So when we meet to all of you in the next class, please remember the definition of recursive language and recursive enumerable language, and also careful about the machine which will be used in the case of a recursive language and also which is used in the case of recursive enumerable language, right? Carefully look to these two definitions. Okay? Now we are going to end the lecture. Okay? Thank you.